Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. I'm here fairly briefly to talk about the dreaded back to school, at least for most of you. Mammals in general stick to a routine. So they wake up, they eat, they go about their day. If it's animals, they're in the wild, they hunt or hide from predators if they're prey, gather food, that kind of thing. But they really like their routine. And just like us, if something throws off our routine, we try and, adjust and absorb and get on with it. But sometimes it's a little challenging. So when your kids start going back to school, your pet's routine is completely thrown off. And having a little semblance of routine is good for them, especially in the morning when the kids are still there, if they still live at home. So if you have really little kids and you walk them to school, take the dog with you. Walk the dog to school and you get in their morning walk before you even start your day, and the kids get to see them, and then take the dog back if you walk back to pick them up. Something as simple as that can help keep your dog part of the routine. A lot of times too, if they're at school, there's no one at home during the day if everybody's out working, and they need somebody to come in and check on them because nobody can hold their bladder that long. So if you have cats, you're okay because you're indoors, but it's still nice for them to have somebody to come because it's a long, quiet day on their own. But if you have a pet sitter or a dog walker or even a neighbor come in and let them out to go pee, you don't want to come home and have to clean up a bunch of pee all over the floor. That's not a good start to coming back. But even having the kids in the morning play with the dog for a little bit, or the cat, or if you have a horse, even planning time either in the evenings or on weekends to go and see the horse, because if all of a sudden they just stop showing up entirely, that's going to be really hard for them. Make sure someone else at the barn if you part board, have someone else ride the horse so they still get exercise, things like that. But don't just completely disappear for 9 months and then come back, because the horse will not be very happy about that. You can also add more responsibility for your kids. So something like you feed the dog if they're younger, you feed the dog in the morning while I make breakfast, kind of thing. Or let the dog out to pee while I make breakfast. And then if they're teenagers, I know it can be hard sometimes to get them to cooperate, but something like take the dog for a walk in the morning or when you get home from school, and then you can do your homework or whatever they do if they're on a sports team or something like that. But just keep them as part of the routine, because a lot of times they do start to exhibit separation anxiety if they're not kept as part of the routine, because they get very upset that all of a sudden they're being left at home for long periods of time and it seems like everybody forgets about them and they're not a priority anymore, and that's really important for them. Separation anxiety is huge. There are a lot of things you can do. You can get a lot of toys that'll keep them busy. So things like puzzle balls, Kongs, at least when you're leaving, to kind of soothe them into it. Giving them rescue before you leave helps calm them down too, so they're in a relaxed mind state when you leave. So that helps. Flower essences are huge for separation anxiety, like beyond. It's probably the most common thing that I get asked for. There's a lot of acupressure points for anxiety, separation anxiety, stress, all the things like that, getting used to changes in their environment and routine, which is really amazing. You can also, now they have remote feeders, which is basically a container with a camera on top where you can watch your pet. And if you feel like giving them a treat, you just press a button on the app on your phone and it gives them a treat, which is nice because you can keep an eye on them and make sure they're not, shredding your favorite pillow or blanket or something like that. But I'm not huge on remote feeders just because you're getting them attached to something else and then they may get separation anxiety from that if you ever the battery dies and you don't have time to get a new battery, something like that. But that's just something else to think about. Acupressure, especially in the time of change before and after the transition, even during, can make a really big difference, especially because we're changing into an entirely new season, which means the energetics of the season are changing as well. And we're moving into the metal season in traditional Chinese medicine. That is the lung and large intestine. So this is when the kids go back to school and they all bring their own germs, and then everybody gets sick because the immune system's depressed during the transition period. And if you give acupressure sessions, say in the next month and a half span, the immune system will be boosted and the animal won't exhibit as strong separation anxiety. And you can also get it done for your kids so that their immune system is nice and strong when they go back to school. But that's all I have to say about back to school. Kaya is starting her own back to school on Thursday. She's starting agility class once a week, so we're going to see how that goes because she has a lot of extra energy. But with all the heat and the rain, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But I will get back to you next week when we talk about pet loss. So I hope you have a great week. Try and stay dry. It's going to be a massive thunderstorm and heat wave this weekend. But stay dry, stay cool, and I will see you next week.